What is going on, everybody? Happy training camp to all Eagles fans. Today, we're talking biggest names to watch, every position. Joining me, he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. What's good, Ryan?
Not much, man. I am happy we're here. I'm happy to see that little walk that everybody does heading into the training camp facilities. It's a fun day, but tomorrow the real work starts.
Yep, practices start tomorrow. Guys, I'm just so excited that we can finally start talking about actual football. And we're just going to jump right into this thing. We've got some top news of the week. Let's jump right in. Practice didn't even start yet, but a news bomb just landed. Cooper DeJean will begin camp out about 3 weeks with a hamstring injury, caught in an awkward position. He is still possibly going to be ready for week 1. Ryan, your reaction?
Yeah, listen, this news literally just broke, and this is I really just felt bad, honestly, for this kid because the cornerback room is hungry, it's young, there's a lot to figure out there, and he unfortunately now kind of gets left behind there for 3 weeks. That is crucial for training camp, especially for a rookie. So I just feel terrible for him, and he's going to be off to a slow start.
Yeah, Antonio says, so upset. DeJean out at least 3 weeks, hamstring. Hamstring's not a good injury, man. That is not a good injury to start out training camp for sure. He's a guy that could play in the slot, maybe play at safety down the road this season, given another injury. But, man, this one hurts. But given the quality and the depth at the secondary position, they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
That as a team, it makes me feel a little, okay about this, just because I know we're going to be fine. It's just I feel bad for him. Again, this might be a slow start to his season, and it might not be until midway through the season before he really starts to kind of show what he can do.
Yeah, DeJean was always a guy that I think they would ramp up slowly anyway.
Sure.
So it's not the end of the world by any means. Brian says, let him get healthy. We have an embarrassment of riches in the secondary. Still surprised Bradbury is here. Facts. Let's jump into the other news here. And not surprising, Sidney Brown will begin training camp on the PUP list. That means if he's still on the roster, he can come back after 4 weeks. So no real news there. We were kind of expecting that. Any thoughts?
Yeah, listen, this is not shocking. I think we were all hoping that he would avoid this, but I think this was ultimately always going to happen. And again, it's you have players that you're not needing Sidney Brown, so you can again kind of take your time. Right now, anyway, and just kind of get him fully healthy, because why rush a kid when you don't need to?
I agree. All right, let's jump into what the meat and potatoes of this show is going to be. We're going to go position by position and talk about our favorite guys to watch. I don't know what that means in Ryan's case. For me, it's bubble guys that are right there, teetering in, teetering out. Guys that, maybe have some upside down the road, athletes. We're going to talk about it all. Let's start off with quarterback. I'll lead us off, Ryan. Give me Tanner McKee for my guy because of reasons. Let's get into it. How Kellen Moore handles Jalen Hurts and his abilities in the run game will be the biggest storyline of training camp. But Tanner McKee, man, this is a guy who had a strong preseason last year, 3 games, completed 39 of 72 passes, 453 yards. He had a touchdown. no picks. He looks like QB3 on the depth chart right now. And why I'm excited, like we're not going to see like hot garbage out there during the preseason like years past. I'm drawing a blank who that one quarterback guy was in the preseason for the Eagles who was like a 4th round pick and they cut. He was that bad. Let me know in the comments section.
Book? Was it Ian Book?
No, definitely wasn't Ian Book. If you say it, I will remember it. But he looks like QB3 right now on the depth chart. Needs to continue his developmental phase. He needs to continue to learn NFL defenses. He needs to work on his technique and timing and the nuances of the position. And quite frankly, like if Tanner McKee is getting any shot at playing time, it's because of injury and things went really bad. But anyway, in the preseason, I think I'm excited. I'm excited to see this guy's growth. One of the areas Jalen Hurts, I think, needs to show growth in 2024 is with his pre-snap processing and hitting windows with anticipation. And that is something kind of we saw a lot from Tanner McKee during his time at Stanford, is a guy that can anticipate intermediate, middle of the field windows. He can rifle balls into tight spots. He can manipulate defenders with quick pump fakes. And I think McKee kind of fits that prototypical quarterback that Kellen Moore is a little more familiar with. So give me Tanner McKee here, and I think he'll be fun to watch in the preseason.
Yeah, no, I think he's a great story. He's somebody that I think a lot of people are hoping to see more from. But I'm going to go with Kenny Pickett. Again, I want to see what they do with him. I want to see how him being in a different situation can increase his value and show, because I felt like in Pittsburgh, I feel like he didn't have weapons, a full array of weapons. I feel like, they really just didn't respect him over there. And listen, that might be for a good reason, but the Eagles didn't trade for him if they thought he was just an average guy. They thought they could get something out of this guy. And I want to see what that is. Yeah. I want to see whether it's just, upping his trade value and maybe getting a third, in a year's time or whatever it may be. But I'm excited to kind of see where he might fit. And again, I thought he had general success in Pittsburgh. Just maybe not, first round, expectational success as Pittsburgh kind of wanted him to. So, Kenny Pickett, baby.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm interested to see how he fits Kellen Moore. Get the ball out fast, get out of the pocket, hit guys moving. He can do those things, as we saw in college. So we'll see how he looks in Midnight Green. Let's move on to running back. For me, I'm going to go Will Shipley. He's not a guy I talked a lot about this offseason. I wasn't really the biggest fan of the draft pick given the other running backs available in my big board, but likely replacement for Boston Scott. He was a 4th round pick. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. He totaled over 2,700 yards and 31 rushing touchdowns in 3 years with Clemson. He also had 602 receiving yards and 85 career receptions, 26.6 yards per kickoff return, and ranked inside the top 10 in school history with over 4,200 all-purpose yards. This guy has a knack for the end zone in college. And has a pretty interesting battle ahead of him with Kendall Milton, who I like quite a bit from Georgia for that running back free spot. I think he, like some of these names we just mentioned, I think he's a plus fit with Kellen Moore. He's got a ton of versatility, who excels in the screen game, excels in the open field, has very solid short area quickness, and I expect him to fit the Eagles' zone rushing attack really well. You look at Saquon getting the bulk of the carries. I'm interested to see how Will Shipley fits in with his pass protection on those third downs during preseason. He didn't do much of it in terms of blocking at Clemson, but given the sample size, I thought he was a willing blocker. I thought he was unafraid of contact, and I think this is an area that he has to show improvement if he wants to get on the field on those third downs. So for running back, give me Will Shipley, baby.
Nice. Well, obviously, I'm not going to go Kenny Gainwell. So I'll go for the big name. I'll go for Saquon. I really want to see how he's going to fit and how he's going to change the fan culture of constantly wanting us to run the ball. Will we be finally satisfied having Saquon Barkley at the helm running for 1,500 yards this year? I really am kind of interested to kind of, again, early in the camp to kind of see his relationship with Jalen Hurts, how, he does about, maneuvering in between a much better offensive line, especially on the left side. So I'm excited to kind of see how Saquon fits with the other weapons in this offense. I mean, this has the potential of being a very potent offense, and we know Kellen Moore and running backs have had shown success in this league, and man, Saquon Barkley is by far his most talented running back. So I'm interested to see what he does with Saquon for a full season.
Especially as a receiver, man. It's been a long time since we
Yeah.
had a running back with his level of ability to impact the receiving game. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, I'm going John Ross with this one. An interesting name. He's kind of one of the top guys on the bubble right now with that wide receiver 3 position, being one of the more open spots on the roster currently. He's got a bit of a higher pedigree than Paris Campbell, who projects to be the slot receiver for the Birds, but he hasn't played since 2021. He's got just 62 career receptions over 5 NFL seasons, and during OTAs, he was kind of the darling of the media. Ross was flashing some high-level traits and got himself to Eagles training camp, and here we are. He appears to be the backup Z behind Devontae Smith. I'm rooting for him. I think it's totally possible that Howie brings in another wide receiver 3 at some point during this process. I'm hopeful that that true position goes to Aniyah Smith sooner than later. We'll see what happens, but John Ross, man, does he have anything left in the tank?
Right. Yeah. No. I think we all saw John Ross coming out of college and just was like, wow, like look at this guy. He's a burner. He's the next Deshaun Jackson, and he just hasn't put it together. But I hope that he puts together something that again, we've seen it. It's just he hasn't put it together, and I'm hopefully he can do that here. But the wide receiver I'm interested is Aniyah Smith. That's the guy I really want to see kind of how he fits, how they're going to utilize him. I mean, 5th round pick, 152nd overall, I believe, out of Texas A&M. Was very productive in college, and again, I think his skill set, really fits well, and they really need some help, obviously after the big 2. And you mentioned John Ross, and you have Aniyah Smith, and you have Paris Campbell, and there's a slew of guys there, and I'm just hoping, he pushes through, because he could be a nice wide receiver 3 for years to come, and really kind of make this a group rather than just a pair.
I really can't wait to see Aniyah Smith in Midnight Green, man. That guy's a lightning bottle waiting to have it, and I think he has real upside in this offense, in that slot role. I just don't know how much. The Eagles love versatility, guys that can play inside and outside. I don't know how much upside he has on the outside, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
All right, moving on to tight end. I kind of went outside the box on this one. The tight end 2 spot is probably going to CJ. I'm not entirely sold on Grant Calcaterra. I know you love the Eagles tight ends right now. I'm just being sarcastic. But I'm going with McCullen Castles, who's kind of a receiving developmental option for the Birds. He's a guy that enrolled at Cal in 2018, entered the transfer portal in 2019, then transferred to UC Davis, and then to Tennessee in 2023. Didn't put up crazy stats, 22 catches, 283 yards, and 5 scores. But like you said last night, Ryan, I think the Eagles need to start thinking about Dallas Goedert's successor sooner rather than later. I'm not saying McCullen Castles has tight end 1 potential, but other guys on this list at this position, like Alberto, they're just guys to me. And the truth is, Dallas Goedert has never stayed healthy for a full season in his career. The depth at tight end is weak. And if Goddard were to go down during any part of the season, man, this position could still be hot mess like it was previously. So I'm going McCollum Castles as a guy that could surprise some people.
Yeah. Listen, I think that's, I was shocked that he went undrafted, and I'm certainly glad the Eagles grabbed him as well. But I'm really interested in Alberto. This is a guy who looks the part, 6'5", 250. He's still young at 26. He's had some slight success here and there, obviously in Denver, and just can't seem to get on the field. And I'm hoping that, again, new offensive coordinator, a full year of training camp, and Alberto could, show us something and fight for that tight end 2 spot. And you're right. Right now, it's obviously, what's his face, CJ Uzomah to lose right now. But yeah, I mean, he is literally he's hard to tackle. He's got really good hands. He I think he logged a sub 4.5 40 at his combine, so he's got some speed. And he honestly, when you look at Dallas Goedert's best year or best stats, I think it was like 58 or 59 catches, 830 and 5. Well, Alberto has 54 catches, 550 yards roughly, and 4 touchdowns. He just needs to kind of put it together. And I'm really hoping that, we made that trade for a reason, and hoping that, he kind of supplants himself as tight end 2, or at least tight end 3, and we can get rid of Grant Calcaterra.
Yeah, I think that this is one of the bigger position battles at training camp. Alberto, Calcaterra, Castles, I think they're all in the mix for tight end 3.
Yeah.
And I do think they'll keep 3 tight ends on the roster.
Yeah, I do too.
Or the initial 53. Brian says Johnny Wilson as tight end. Could maybe. I don't know about.
I don't see it.
I don't know about it at least this year, but maybe down the line. All right, let's roll on to offensive tackle. Do you want to go first with this one?
Yeah, I could do first. So for offensive tackle, there's actually a bunch that I'm kind of interested in seeing. But the one I'm going to pick is oh man, how do I? Well, I just had it too. I want to make sure that I pronounce it. Anim Dankwa. This guy is 6'7", 330 pounds, rookie out of Howard. This is a massive, massive human being that the Eagles scooped up, undrafted. And I mean, this guy absolutely looks menacing. And listen, we have been needing a lot of depth at tackle, and that's certainly something that I'm very interested in, kind of the Lane and Mulata backup, rather than kind of getting the guy that can play all 5 positions. I'd really want just a tackle who plays tackle, who's a big dude and just mauls people. And I think it kind of looks like Dankwa could be this guy. Eagles love their size, and you're obviously, being coached by the best in the business. So, anything is possible. I mean, look what he did with, Mailata, this guy who was playing rugby 2 seconds before he got to the Eagles, and now he's, a highly paid, all-pro, talented level player. So,
I also went with Dankwa. That was a good pick, Ryan. And you nailed it about the depth. Like the depth at tackle, like there's really strong, like wide receiver. You got AJ Brown and Devontae. Your top 2 are really strong in Lane and Jordan. But outside of that, depth-wise at tackle is a little bit of concern. You've got a lot of veteran players who don't have a lot of game experience. You got like Fred Johnson and guys like that. But Dankwa is just a beast. He's a decorated left tackle with extremely rare size, mass and length. He's a solid mover. And you're looking at Jeff Stoutland to coach him up, teach him some finesse,
Hold him.
teach him how to manage blocks on the move, recover better against quick inside rushes. And Denko is probably a multi-year project, more probably on the practice squad than anything. But this guy, I like his upside. He's going to be definitely a name to watch. I think the first guy off the bus kind of guy that could open some eyes during training camp.
Yeah, I really hope so. Honestly, I'm really rooting for this kid for sure. He's a massive human being.
Yeah. All right, let's roll on to interior offensive line. Do you want to go first or second?
You go first.
All right. I'm going to go with a guy we haven't really talked about, maybe the dark horse for the right guard spot. It's Max Sharping. He was signed to the Eagles like a month ago or so. He was the Texans' second-round pick in 2019, started 35 of 50 games. He played there in 3 seasons. The Bengals claimed him off of waivers in 2022, played 31 games in the regular season over the last 2 years there, and didn't start any of those games, but did make 3 playoff starts during the 2022 postseason. Last year, played 17 games, logged just 13 snaps on offense. This is a guy with experience playing both guard positions, has seen some time at center. You go back to his college days, he's actually played all 5 positions. And we all know the Eagles love versatile offensive linemen. And Max Sharping is a guy that could be in the works with Tyler Steen and Mekhi Becton for that right guard spot. So Max Sharping is a guy we haven't talked about a lot on our shows here, but he's worth a shout out.
Yeah. Listen, there's not a lot here. Obviously, we're all going to keep our eye on Cam to make sure that he's, again, we don't need him to replace a legend. We just need him to do his job. So, but I actually am going to go with Trevor Keegan, the rookie out of Michigan. His other guard teammate, Zach Zinter, kind of maybe got a little bit more of the kind of the hype, but I honestly think Keegan might be the better player overall. This is a guy that when he got introduced was wearing his actual own Deshaun Jackson jersey from when he was younger. Listen, he had some injuries. That's certainly something that again I think we got to keep an eye on, but. I'm really excited for him to not only get a shot at the right guard position, but ultimately I think will provide really good depth, learning under another wonderful coach, as he had really good coaches at Michigan as well. So I'm just kind of excited to kind of see his progression, and I think honestly this guy, couple, maybe 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, might be a future starting right guard, hopefully for us.
I like it. Their depth at guard is really interesting. And we also have Matt Hennessy, one of my guys from Temple, to watch for this training camp. Some really fun names to watch there. Let's move on to the defense. We're talking defensive tackle. I'll go. And the guy I really want to watch at training camp here could possibly be the new Milton Williams.
Oh, I know.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, I know who you're going to say.
I'm going to go Moro Ojomo.
Yeah, that's who I'm saying too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Love me some Ojomo.
Yeah, the Eagles are going to be running like a hybrid defense out there. You're going to see a lot of multiple fronts. You're going to see, Milton Williams getting a lot more snaps, replacing Fletcher Cox and all the snaps we've seen from him over the years. Ojomo is a guy who has primarily played special teams last year, and I'm kind of surprised the Eagles didn't really address this position given the collapse of the second half of last year. You could maybe make a case that Ojomo was one of the bigger winners of the draft because this is a gifted athlete, and it's important to note he's also one of the youngest players. He was one of the youngest players in that draft class. Dude, Ryan, this guy's only 22 years old.
No.
Look at this. Ojomo is the 6th youngest player on the Eagles roster. 6th. He's young. So I
he already has a year under his belt.
Yeah, I expect him to kind of get that chance to continue to grow into that rotation this season. Depth at defensive tackle is a major concern for the Birds. I'm excited to see how the rotation plays out, especially with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, their conditioning getting a bad rap last year. So give me Moro Ajomo.
Yeah, listen, you're absolutely right. You nailed it with the potential Milton Williams kind of replacement as Milton kind of ascends himself into kind of that next tier. Jomo is primed to kind of take that next step as well, and coming out of Texas, was a big dude. He didn't see a whole lot of reps this past season, but again, they still kind of had a bunch of names that they kind of had to get snaps to, but you look for a very increased. Oh, hey, how about that? By the way, if you are on Twitter, it is very confusing. I really wanted to see how it is to actually comment, because I feel like everybody says that when we do shows, like, how the heck do you comment? You literally have to like hit the chat when you're watching. You have to click it and then you hit live chat. That's the way you have to do it. You can't even hit the like the comment button, because then it'll take you back to Twitter. It's so stupid. Anyway, yeah, I'm excited for Ajomo. Honestly, I really want him to kind of be that fourth D tackle, and again have another year. And if should Milton Williams leave, for more money next year, again fill the Milton Williams role once again and become that third D tackle. So I'm excited.
The reason why I also wanted to point him out too was because he was an excellent run defender in college.
Yeah.
And you look across the board on this defense, there are some major concerns in terms of guys and their run defense. So I think Ajomo could be an athlete built around that same mold of Milton Williams going forward. And I kind of wish they extended Milton Williams this offseason before he breaks out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that could have been, and who knows? Maybe Howie tried, and Milt, Milton's probably like, nah, dude, I'm gonna get that money. So
yeah, he's banking on himself, and he's gonna get a lot of snaps.
Yeah, no, agreed. He's definitely taking a lot of those Fletcher Cox snaps. That's for sure.
All right, let's move on to edge. Who are you going with edge?
I mean, it's got to be Bryce Huff. Again, he's new to the team. We only know him in limited action, and there's a lot of question marks here. Can this guy do it for a full season? He has 400 or in some snaps last year. That was the highest ever. Previously, it was like 150. So like can he put those snaps out there on the field? Is he worth putting out there for all those snaps? And will he still have the same effectiveness that he did last year that ranked him in the top 5, up with, Parsons and Bosa and some of those other guys that, Myles Garrett, that were getting to the quarterback. So was Huff. And we just want to see if he can do that full time. So again, I got to admit, I didn't know much about him prior to the Eagles getting him. Obviously, when I knew he was kind of a name on the radar, I started looking, but still it's different when you're, watching, the game and as it comes. But yeah, this is definitely a guy that I want to see if he's the real deal, because if he isn't, we have a major problem.
Yeah, he needs to step up in a big way. Just like Josh Sweat. We need a lot more from him as well. So let's roll on to my guy. I'm going Jalix Hunt, man. Another project, but I'm really intrigued to see his athleticism pop during training camp. And because personally I didn't have Jalix Hunt ranked in my top 100 prospects, and it didn't stop the Eagles from drafting him in the 3rd round. He was a safety at Cornell who transferred to Houston Christian, became an instant impact player on the edge. And he has obvious athletic traits. He's a violent finisher when he gets to the quarterback, and his athleticism is just off the charts. He finished at least in the 80th percentile or better in every athletic testing event at the combine, other than bench press. And he's a developmental guy who probably won't get a lot of playing time as a rookie in the regular defense. I see him at best as a situational pass rusher from the jump with the hope that he can further develop his run game. And as a rookie, probably will be an immediate special teams contributor due to those athletic traits. So give me Jalex Hunt and that athleticism and dare to say his ability to drop back in coverage at that size.
Yeah, listen, if I wasn't going to say Huff, it was certainly going to be Hunt. So, yeah, he's definitely one of a rookie that I'm definitely excited about, and hopefully that natural ability can translate to production on the field.
I just want to see what he looks like because this guy blew up the Senior Bowl, had maybe a better reputation among inner draft NFL draft experts than some of the outside experts. So let's roll on to linebacker. I wonder who you're going to go with in this one.
I wonder who I'm going to go with. You can start writing it. I don't need to say it, folks. Anybody who knows me, it's obvious it got to be Baby Trot. Come on now. I want to see the Axeman Jr. out there, out on that field, wearing the 54, swinging the axe. Again, this was a guy that was supposed to be originally, he was a first rounder when, the whole thing started. And slowly went back, that sat around that third rounder. And that's kind of where he sat when the draft started. And listen, he fell. And people are saying that, he doesn't have the size and, he doesn't, he's not going to live up to his father. And listen, they said that about his father, that, he wasn't, talented enough. And I think
they're totally different players, man.
No, I'm not saying they're the same player. I'm saying they doubted Trot Senior.
Gotcha.
There was a lot of doubt, and I think that's exactly what's happening to Trot Jr. They're doubting whether or not he can do it, and you don't know the will of a man until you get out there and you fight. And he has a pedigree. He was taught from an early age, and believe me, I saw it. Watching his games at the prep, seeing him at Clemson, you can tell that was ingrained in him. So I don't expect him to go down lightly. That's for sure. So I'm excited to kind of see what he can bring and what, I know people are obviously hyping him to be, like his father. And I don't think we're going to ever get that. But I still think he can be a very productive member of this team. And listen, there's a lot of room in that linebacker room to show something because there's not a lot of talent.
Dude, I went with Trot Jr. as well, just for the fact that it's going to be so surreal to watch him run onto the field with number 54. That's going to be freaking nuts, man.
It's going to be real fun.
We're going full circle there. And I'm really curious how Trot Jr. fits in, man. He's obviously going to need a really good camp. He's behind Devin White, Zach Pond at the will position. He's instinctive. He's smart. He's a hard-nosed linebacker, and he's got the obvious bloodlines. He's small, man. He's kind of like Nakobe Dean. He kind of fell in the draft and doesn't have some ideal athletic testing measurables, but I think he's going to be solid. I think he's going to make the team, and I think he's going to beat out Ben Van Sumeren, and I think he's going to be solid on special teams and kind of work his way in.
Yeah.
So I'm going Jeremiah Trotter Jr. just for the fact that, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it really is. And dare I say, is he the new Nakobe Dean? This small, undersized linebacker that has all the talent in the world, and unfortunately, Dean seems to be, getting hit with some kind of weird injuries, and might not make it past this year. But Trot Jr. might kind of be the same thing, a little undersized, undervalued, and could come out the gate flying, like we all thought Nakobe Dean should. Just injuries kind of got him. So
I agree. All right, let's roll on the corner. Do you want to go first or second?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Who's your guy?
My guy is going to be the starting CB2 week 1. and that's Keely Ringo, folks. I know there's a lot of hype around the rookies and Isaiah Rodgers, and that is fantastic, and I love it. But I'm going Ringo here. I really want to see, again, he kind of ended the season in that CB2 role. I want to see what happens given a full off season. Obviously now under a much better defensive coordinator, and there's going to be a lot of competition. And I think competition, see, Rick knows what's up. Competition certainly brings brings it out of people, and I fully expect Keely to kind of continue to grow and continue to get better. And honestly, I think that CB2 spot is wide open. I think, with Cooper DeJean getting hurt, certainly I would say probably hurts him in a little way. But I still think there's probably 3 people for this job, and he's going to fight for it. And I still think he's going to win in the long run.
Love it, man. I'm excited to see Ringo's growth here in year 2. Give me Eli Ricks as a guy who has a lot of upside, struggles with the physical aspects, but I think he's just a natural cover corner. You see Eli Ricks maybe take James Bradbury's spot there at the right corner spot behind Quinyon and behind Isaiah Rodgers and maybe Keely Ringo. He had a really good showing during last year's preseason. He made the team as an undrafted rookie free agent, as we know. He got a lot of time, not a lot of time, but he got some time in the slot last year out of necessity. And there were some good moments. There were some really bad moments, like the one against the 49ers where he played 5 snaps and gave up 3 completions on 3 targets for 44 yards and a touchdown. He's going to have a standout preseason and training camp to make the initial 53, just because the secondary is absolutely loaded. Maybe a sneaky trade candidate for depth at another position. But for me, Eli Ricks, definitely a name to watch as a guy that could take a leap forward.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's definitely on that bubble. And like we've been saying for a long time, that room is very, very talented. And something's going to shake out. And unfortunately, we're going to lose a guy or 2 that we're probably not going to want to lose, and pray that we can save onto the practice squad. But, there's definitely going to be, a couple of guys that are going to fall out of that CB, room. And Eli Ricks, may not make it, but I really am rooting for the kid. I hope he does.
Mm-hmm. You also got guys like Tyler Hall and Josh Jobe. So it's going to be a mix of who's best at special teams and who's got the most versatility. And
sure,
I definitely think we know that Eli Ricks is not great in the slot, but we'll see. Let's roll on to safety. Who's your safety?
I mean, this one's tough. Sidney Brown would have been a nice, easy answer, but he's on the pup list. Reed Blankenship, I'm not, no offense. I'm over it. I'm not really excited to see him. I'm glad CJ Gardner-Johnson is back. And it's always going to be fun to see him. But what I'm going with here is Andre Sam out of LSU.
Wow, nice.
He's a rookie. He is a super long shot to make this team. But he had a pretty productive, collegiate career at LSU. Honestly, I think, given the fact that Sidney Brown is on PUP and you have Reed and CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's they're going to keep at least 3 safeties, if not maybe 4. I mean, it's possible, but say they keep 3 and Brown's on the PUP. Well, then it's between what, Andre Sam and Tristan Capella?
I got Mekhi Garner. I'm going to put Mekhi Garner here, who went from corner to safety last year a little bit. And I'm excited to see kind of his growth here in 2024. You saw him move from corner to safety full time in 2023. And he had a really good training camp last year. He appeared in 3 games as a practice squad call-up. He played 27 snaps in the regular defense, moving from corner to safety along the way. I definitely see this guy as a sleeper to win a roster spot due to that lack of depth, like you said. And I always put money on guys with high level versatility, guys who can play corner or safety on a whim each and every time. I think this is probably a guy that has the biggest opportunity to step up with Sidney Brown going to the PUP list until Howie Roseman finds that Justin Simmons move.
God willing.
But for me, give me Mekhi Garner as the dark horse.
Listen, that's a really good one. I honestly didn't even factor him in. I still kind of see him as a corner, but yeah, listen, that would be if I'm Mekhi Gardner and I'm his team of people around him, I'd be telling him to shoot for safety. The spot's wide open now, and this corner is so busy. There's an outside shot, but better shot with safety. And Rick is definitely right. Justin Simmons would be absolutely great for a late camp signing.
He's the guy.
He's still available. There's still a lot of really good players that are still available technically, not just safeties. In fact, Emmanuel Ogba just went back to Miami. Still have my guy Yannick Ngakwe for a little defensive end depth. But listen, I'm hoping Howie adds something because unfortunately, if it's not Gardner, if Gardner doesn't make the full switch, there's not a lot after Reed Blankenship and CJGJ with Brown being hurt. So it's more evident now than ever that they need to make a move at safety.
I think they will. I think they definitely will. Like, that's the position, as we talked about on last night's show, the position, in my opinion, that they need to make a move. Given Sidney Brown and CJ Gardner's injury history and all that kind of stuff. All right, let's wrap it up. Ryan, final thoughts, plugs, time's yours.
Listen, we made it. We're finally seeing football action. Even if they're in shorts, it does not matter. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see this team grow and build on what I think could be a very fun, talented season. And this offense looks to be really fun. So hold on to your hats and let's have a good season, and let's just pray for health. So
great.
Other than that, you can find me every Monday, 6:00 Football Smack Talk show, 9:00 Party on Broad with this guy and our good buddy Rob. Obviously, tonight we're missing our two brothers, David, who's too busy vacationing to get Wi-Fi. He's like, I'm in. Where's he again? Not Outer Banks. Why do I keep saying Outer Banks? What's the other one?
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach. Yeah. Myrtle Beach. He's like, I'm in Myrtle Beach. I don't got Wi-Fi. Whatever. Shane, unfortunately, Shane's last week missing. Apparently Shane took a summer vacation.
Coaching.
Coaching. So he'll be back next week. Hopefully David will have some freaking Wi-Fi, and it'll be the first time in like 2 months, it feels like, to have the team back together. But this literally is my favorite podcast, the best Eagles show on the planet. So make sure that you're subscribed, you're liking it. If you don't follow this guy or me, and you're seeing us from Shane's Twitter, give us some follows. We could use some Shane overdraft. But also forgot, we also do our college football show every Sunday, Party on Broad edition, where we will break down every week. We'll talk about players of the week. We'll talk about games of the week. But right now we're kind of going over prospects. We kind of take it from an Eagles prospect angle, an NFL draft angle. So we've already done top Heisman. We've already done top defensive linemen. And we're going to do a mock draft, 3-round mock draft next Sunday. So check that out as well, Sunday at 8:00. And honestly, everything on EOP. We got like 40 shows a week. It's ridiculous. So there's something for everybody. So if you're not following EOP, I don't know what's wrong with you. Let's go.
Yep. Sixers Summer League is over. So it is all football all the time now. And I have, at the school I work in, is going on break after Friday. So expect a ton of scouting reports on some big names in college football this year for the 2025 NFL draft. I'm going to try and pump at least like 30 of those guys before I go back to work. So that 3 weeks is going to be a lot of fun. So be on the lookout for that. We'll do a mock draft. We'll keep getting you ready for the college football season, which is going to be a blast.
Cannot wait.
It's going to be so much fun. And be on the lookout for College Football 25 streaming, because I got to take down Ryan live.
I'm going to get destroyed.
It's going to be fun. All right. So, guys, one last time. He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dives, Mr. Crockpot on X. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Whoever commented, thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you next Tuesday night talking actual real Eagles news. Headlines and stories.
I know.
We can actually talk real football again.
So fun.
So we're back. He is Ryan. I'm Dives. Stay awesome.